Kyrsten Sinema admits she had sex with her married bodyguard in new bombshell court papers. It's a love story, kids.
Kyrsten Sinema is being sued as a homewrecker for allegedly ruining a 14-year marriage. The lawsuit was filed in North Carolina by a woman named Heather Ammel. She's the now ex-wife of a former Sinema bodyguard and Senate staffer. North Carolina is one of the few states that has a so-called homewrecker law, and that allows people to sue a spouse's lover who may have played a role in a breakup of a marriage. Ammel claims Sinema had an affair with her husband during trips across the country and around the world, and that Sinema used campaign funds to pay for all of it.
Now, the alienation of affection law is recognized in a handful of states. You got North Carolina, Mississippi, South Dakota, New Mexico, Utah, and Hawaii. But she banged him in D.C., disgusting. New York City, sickening. Phoenix, hot and putrid. Miami, gross. And Boston, I wouldn't even want to touch you no more. Now, you might say when you're married wherever you go, and you'd be right. But at least she was considerate enough to not sleep with him while he was in their home state. It's good to know she respects boundaries. Former Senator Kyrsten Sinema admitted to having a jet-setting affair with her married bodyguard, you home-wrecking hussy, in which she slept with him at least 6 times in 5 cities before he separated from his wife, according to bombshell new court papers. Now, not for nothing, she does have sort of a law and order type of je ne sais quoi about her. The 49-year-old independent poll who represented Arizona in the U.S. Senate admitted in a motion filed Thursday that she first got hot and heavy with Heather Ammel, a married father of 3, in May 2024. Hey, well, you're up on Capitol Hill making all these laws. It's tense work. You just need somebody to unwind you from time to time, I suppose. During the steamy affair, she was physically intimate with Ammel 6 times over 5 months before he separated from his then wife. That thing made him call his wife up and say, listen, I'm not coming back home. You and the kids take care of yourselves. According to Sinema, who hopes will quash a North Carolina homewrecker lawsuit filed by her lover's ex-wife, Heather Ammel.
The senator also accused of ethics violations for those same trips while she was still in office. Ammel is seeking more than $25,000 in damages. Her ex-husband, Matthew Ammel, was hired as a security guard for Sinema in 2022. He later joined her Senate staff. Court papers claim Sinema sent encrypted messages to Ammel on the app Signal that were of a romantic nature and told him to bring the drug MDMA or Molly on a work trip so she could, quote, guide him through a psychedelic experience because he was suffering from PTSD. He's a former service member.
Now, me personally, I think they slept together way more times than just 6 times in 5 months. 6 times in 5 months is hardly considered hot and heavy. That's 1.2 times per month. Now, 60 times in 5 months is hot and heavy. 6 times is more like the sex is convenient. It's like coochie on the nightstand. You don't have to go that far to get it, but this was definitely giving passionate vibes. Look at it like this. 6 rainy days in 5 months wouldn't be enough to water the crops unless they came up with that soft number to imply that he only cheated a little bit and not a lot, which is a huge difference, by the way. Sinema admits her first romantic tryst with her bodyguard, that's a word you don't hear every day, tryst, was on May 27th, 2024 in Sonoma, California. She was popping Molly with her bodyguard under the guise of helping him with his PTSD, and then I would assume delivering to him earth-bending, mind-shattering sex to the point where he couldn't physically bear to be married anymore. She threw it up in the air and it turned into sunshine. She later hooked up with him in New York City in mid-July and in Washington, D.C. in late August and September, her court papers state. She also took the Army vet turned bodyguard to bed in Aspen in September and Phoenix in early October, according to the court docs. Sinema laid out geographic details of the affair in an attempt to show that none of the hookups happened in North Carolina, meaning she can't be dragged into court in the state. Now, I've read a few versions of this article. This one is New York Post, but this one really gives me the impression that she slept with him outside of state lines on purpose. Heather filed the lawsuit in the Tar Heel state, which is her family's home state, as it is one of a few with so-called home wrecker laws, alienation of affection, on the books that allows people to sue their ex-spouse's paramours. I'm glad this law isn't countrywide anymore. It used to be, because they would have to build a whole court specifically for this. There'll be lines around the corner. She is seeking over $25,000 in damages from the former senator who became the first openly bisexual person elected to Congress in 2012 and the first elected to the U.S. Senate in 2018. Your man was never safe.
Who even knew that these laws were on the books, that you could sue somebody basically for having an affair?
Yeah, not many. You know, these types of statutes were abolished in the majority of the states over the last 100 years. So it comes from English common law, where it used to be seen that a marriage was more than just a bond. It was prestige, it was your status in the community, and even property rights. So if a man came in and stole someone's wife 200 years ago, it could really affect their status in society. So it was seen as a tort claim and people that were liable for damages.
Listen, he's grown and he knew he was married. He was married 14 years. Let's keep it a buck here. She didn't break him. He folded. But you can't tell me she didn't give him a nudge, call him to her room in the wee hours, wearing Armani My Way, asking him to check for monsters under her bed or whatever damsel in distress card. All I'm saying is women know how to apply pressure, but they can be a little more subtle at times. You have to tell your men this, ladies, but you won't, because this is how most of you got him. In her motion to end the potentially costly lawsuit, Sinema states, defendant admits that she and plaintiff's husband, Matthew Ammel, began a romantic relationship in May 2024, about 5 months prior to his separation from plaintiff. She texted him, "I keep waking up during my sleep and reaching over for your arms to hold me." Now you tell me that he didn't hit that more than 6 times in just those 5 months. Yet, as her declaration establishes, that relationship occurred exclusively outside of North Carolina, conveniently exclusively outside of North Carolina. Matthew Ammel moved out of the home he shared with his wife and kids in November 2024. According to the court docs, it didn't take long for things to go off the rails. Messing with Kyrsten Sinema over here. Please make sure, ladies, check under your beds. Please make sure you have a hotel room arranged from Saturday to Friday. His wife texted him at the time, "I highly suggest you use this week to find an apartment and therapist. You have repeatedly told me you want a divorce. I won't allow you to continue to hurt me or the kids." Heather sued Sinema. Heather sued Sinema in September, alleging she destroyed their 14-year-long marriage by sleeping with her husband as they traveled around the world. And you want me to believe that they were only intimate for 5 months? Get out of here. So did anyone ever stop to think about what Matthew wanted? I mean, the whole alienation of affection law is based on the premise that your spouse is your property. So if you sleep with someone's spouse, you're basically damaging their marriage, you're damaging their property. It's like a property damage claim. Then we have Kyrsten on the other side. Kyrsten is a savage. You already know what she's about. This woman flew him around and smutted him out regularly. You don't think he was hurt about having to make that perfectly conscious decision of sleeping with a woman that's not his wife after she's flown him out to all these nice places that are not North Carolina? Prior to Sinema's actions, plaintiff and Mr. Ammel were happily married and genuine love and affection existed between them. Of course they did, because what woman would want to steal a man that's not already loving and affectionate? He came completely assembled already, the wild lawsuit alleged. It's not that wild, New York Post. It's about par for the course. As a direct and proximate result of Sinema's intentional and unlawful actions, such marital love and affection was alienated and destroyed.
In North Carolina, this is not an uncommon lawsuit for wives and husbands who, maybe want to get a little bit of revenge on the person who they think is responsible for breaking up their marriage.
So she's suing beginning at $25,000. You say it could go up to $75,000. Is that a normal amount? I mean, what does that money even mean? The loss of a husband seems like it could be far more than that.
The damages could skyrocket depending on what the facts are. So Kyrsten Sinema and her legal team were able to take the claim from state court and transfer it to federal court because it involves at least $25,000. Now, the ex-wife is claiming that the damages that she's seeking are going to be at least $75,000. And I would expect to see more evidence of that going forward.
Of course, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I'd love to hear your opinions on this. Do you think she's an actual homewrecker, or do you think it didn't take much for him to fold? He just needed a little push in the right direction.